Denise Gwen, reading aloud for you from my short story, The Greasy Spoon, Chapter 41. Nick leaned back on his haunches, relief flooding through him. Okay, he could focus again. He got back down to his hands and knees in the sweet green grass and, starting at the front hip pockets, patted Junior down and had to nearly lie on top of him to get at the back pockets. And when he reached the left back pocket, his fingers touched something hard and cold, and it wasn't Junior's dick. No sirree, Bob, but the firearm, and he pulled it out of the back pocket. Nick slid the bolt, checked it. Yep, 6 cylinders. Hey, Junior, surprised, Nick yelled and leaped to his feet and without thinking unloaded the gun into the belly of the man who just opened the door and who was even now leaning on the handlebar as if it were any ordinary day and he was just passing the time. And with the rifle set in the disabled position in the crook of his arm, Clem leaned on the door to ask Junior a question, and Nick pumped bullets into the old man's belly, and that got Clem's attention real fast. And it kind of surprised him, too. And he stared at Nick with incomprehension as Nick unloaded one more bullet into Clem's substantial beer gut belly, and Clem kept leaning on the door and staring at Nick for one long, hard second. Then the arm leaning on the handlebar relaxed, and the rifle toppled to the grass, and Nick caught it before it landed. Carried by the force of his bulk, Clem's massive body slumped over, and he dropped dead in the doorway of the factory. His torso and his head rested outside the door, and his waist, hips, and legs rested inside the door. His entire body effectively blocked anyone from shutting the door if they wanted. But his body couldn't stop anybody from escaping if they wanted. As blood bubbled from Clem's mouth, a group of Latinos appeared in the doorway and chattered excitedly at Nick in Spanish. But he shook his head and made a great point of tucking the gun into his back pocket and holding Clem's rifle sideways and still disabled in his arms, and forced his lips into what he hoped passed for a smile of kindness, and which was probably a frightening clown mask. But whatever, and he nodded at them and gestured for them to come out, and first one did, picking his way over Clem, then a second, and pretty soon a stream of terrified Latinos rushed out of the factory, and they didn't spare Nick a single glance backwards as they fled and ran off in all directions. When the last of the Latinos had escaped, Nick walked over to the wide open door and peered into the darkness. "Maria!" he called out. Not a sound. Where was she? And where the hell was Jeb?